Harriet Tubman was walking around with a nice shiny dress on with a crown on her head when she was taking slaves to freedom. Queens don't always talk and look nice and polished. Being a queen has more to do with having balls to do what you weak won't do.
Tell him, son.
That is one of the funniest audio ever. It's the sound effect. Oh my god. All right, everyone. Focus. Nancy Grace did an interview with Elizabeth Smart a few years after she was abducted and returned home. And in this situation, it seems like Nancy is mining for a story, something sentimental, emotional, whereas Elizabeth wants to talk about her experience, but she's not trying to dramatize it. So let's take a look. It's almost fall, so I'm tired. Are you tired? Well, don't worry, because we can count on Factor for fast, tasty meals that fit your lifestyle. With Factor, there's no prep and no mess. Factor cuts out stressful meal planning and extensive prepping, so meals come together in minutes, taking the guesswork out of what to make for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Factor meals arrive pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes, even faster than ordering in takeout. Factor supports wholesome eating made simple. Meal plans offer variety with a rotating weekly menu of over 25 meal options, and not to mention the Factor Plus add-ons, but we'll get to that. Choose your favorite meals or let Factor craft your order based on your taste preferences and meal history. Listen, I say it all the time. Factor cuts down on grocery trips, cooking, and of course, dishes. Bro, I ain't trying to do these dishes. And also, it gives me more time for activities that I actually want to do. Have you ever felt just stressed looking at the pile of dishes in your kitchen? Me too. Now imagine using Factor 5 days out of the week. Consider it a stress-free home vacation. No cleanup all week, no picking out what to eat, no compromising with your husband. Just tell him to pick one from the fridge. Not to mention, Factor has extra nutritional options like smoothies and juices, perfect for snack. Just go to go.factor75.com/BOZE130 and you get $130 off. That's go.factor75.com/BOZE130.
I remember when you first went missing and literally hundreds of people were out looking for you. Now we know you were being held captive not very far away from your home at all. Did you ever hear people calling out your name trying to find you?
The weird thing about this interview right from the jump is Nancy Grace is talking in a childish tone. Elizabeth is a little bit more of an adult now. Anybody that doesn't like to be spoken to like a child or infantilized is immediately gonna go on the defensive when somebody's, and you were just a little girl. Like, it's off, right? So now you're on the defensive and you're like, what is this person trying to do?
There was one time.
At that moment, did you want to scream out, "Here I am, help me"?
I mean, of course, who wouldn't?
How, at that moment, when you knew people were looking for you, your parents were there, they were trying to find you, how did that make you feel?
It was good to know people were looking for me, but I felt so far away, you know, it didn't really connect at that time, and
yeah,
you know, and I think that.
And you were such a little girl, Elizabeth. I mean, you were just 14 years old.
Once again,
Yeah.
infantilization. Elizabeth is doing a really good job of kind of setting a boundary here by being completely uninterested and non-responsive in the questions. Guys, would you not, if somebody responded to you that way, would you not pick up, okay, this line of questioning is clearly offensive or upsetting to them in some way. We have a production to do, but I'll change my tone or my line of questioning. Most people would pick up on that.
I mean, it's hard to expect a little 14-year-old girl to react the way an adult might imagine they would react under those circumstances. You were afraid, I assume.
Her face.
Yeah.
Did your kidnappers...
When she looks over to the producer or something and is like, who fucking set this up? Like, is she gonna, and Nancy doesn't change any line of questioning. I feel like Elizabeth is giving a lot of passive aggressive boundary setting. Like, you know, at one point when Nancy says, oh, you were just a little girl, Elizabeth could have said, yeah, and I am an adult now and willing to have this conversation about what happened when I was younger. Just taking it up a little bit, but also at the same time, I ain't mad at the way she dealt with this at all.
Did your kidnappers tell you they would hurt you or your family if you tried to get away?
You know, they did. And I really am here to support the bill and not to go into what,
oh my God,
you know, what happened to me, what the whole, like, what is in my past.
And all right, I just understood what happened. So before people take these interviews, like it's like a PR thing or something like that, Elizabeth's PR agent is basically going to say, hey, we're doing a press tour right now to promote Elizabeth supporting this organization or starting this organization or whatever. This is what we want to do the piece on. So Nancy just goes completely out of bounds and starts talking about the abduction when that's why Elizabeth isn't here for that at all. And then she does a really great job of correcting it. I want to see how Nancy responds.
I'm not here to give an interview on that. I'm here to help push this bill through.
And I want you to push the bill through, and I want people to hear your voice. When we take a look back, there is a shot of Elizabeth Smart.
Oh no.
And here she is 4 years later, and frankly, it's a miracle that she was ever found.
Look at her!
You know, a lot of people have seen shots of you wearing a burqa. How did you see out of that thing?
You know, I'm really not going to talk about this at this time. I mean, that's something I just don't even look back at, and I really, to be frankly honest, I really don't appreciate you bringing all this up.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
What to do with having balls?
I thought that you would speak out to other victims, but you know what?
And then she guilt trips her. I thought you would speak out to other victims, but oh, how unfortunate the other victims won't be able to hear it. No, fuck that. Here's the other thing about it. What happened to Elizabeth Smart? There becomes a point in the press where her story is sellable. She gets paid to talk about that experience and share that emotional story. Nancy Grace did not pay for that shit. Let's take a look at Ariana Grande.
If you could use makeup or your phone one last time, which one would you pick?
That question is so insulting. And this is the kind of shit where people would be like, whoa, I didn't mean it that way at all. It's just like minimizing what female interests are.
Is this what you think girls have trouble choosing between?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this men assuming that that's what girls would
Dude, so they kind of underhandedly insult her, and then Ariana just right in your face throws it back, right? It's gonna make you embarrassed. It's gonna make, oh God, like I should have known, like, and now you have to respond to it. What are they gonna say?
have to choose between?
Now, the
Not a question.
Can you really go anywhere without your cell phone?
Yes.
How long can you go without looking at Twitter?
Many hours.
Ariana?
Many hours.
I don't believe it.
Absolutely. I have to, you know, when I'm at a dinner table, I like
Okay, the fact that she and I said yes at the same exact time to that question, I think that she is just running purely off emotion, and she's just answering exactly how she feels. She's not thinking about it too hard or anything like that. And that to me makes me think that Ariana, or at least this point in her life, is not that much of a people pleaser. Because some of us will be like, oh, I'm on their show. I don't want to upset them. I don't want to do any, you know? And so it's like some of us have that filter on of my feelings don't matter. The person that's talking to me, they matter more, and I don't want to upset them or I don't want to offend them. For whatever reason, Ariana's people pleaser filter is just completely off, which is great. That's great.
to be present and talking.
Good quality.
Eye contact.
Ladies learn.
Yeah.
Listen and learn, ladies.
Boys learn.
Oh, excuse
Come
me.
on.
You see us on our phones? Nah, it's fine for that.
I have made that
We got
mistake.
respect.
Come
We're on
on.
a date right now. We got our.
Have you seen the new?
Boys and girls, we can all learn.
Have you seen the new?
One thing also that Ariana does, and it's all happening really quickly in this clip, this is awesome. The guys do random little things because they're a little embarrassed to try to diffuse the way that she's called it out. Like, oh, do you see us on our phones? And Ariana doesn't acknowledge that at all because they're probably a little bit ready to argue that point. They don't even realize it yet, but they are. She just doesn't acknowledge the diffusal statements. She just carries on with what her point is, and what do you want to ask next? Beautiful.
All right, I changed my mind. I don't want to hang out at Power 106.
Then she uses her power by basically saying, oh, I won't come on the podcast anymore. Because she knows how big of a deal she is, and she knows that they want her there. Like, okay, you fix your sexist behavior, or I just won't come here anymore. And Hathaway with Matt Lauer.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Morning, Matt.
Seen a lot of you lately.
Sorry about that.
You were.
I'd be happy to stay home, but the film.
Let's just get it out of the way. You had a little wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson learned from something like that, other than that you keep smiling, which you always do?
Well, It was obviously an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
I think
graceful.
It kind of made me sad on two accounts. One was that I was very sad that we live in an age when someone takes a picture of another person in a vulnerable moment and rather than delete it and do the decent thing, sells it. And I'm sorry that we live in a culture that commodifies sexuality of unwilling participants, which brings us back to Les Mis, because that's what my character is. She is someone who is forced to sell sex to benefit her child because she has nothing and there's no social safety net. And so let's get back to Les Mis.
Once again, another situation where the host breaches what they're supposed to be here to talk about. Her press agent has brought her in to promote the new movie that she's in, and he brings up a scandal that she had that was very embarrassing. And that's how she handled it. Oh my God, that was honestly very graceful. I think that there's a time to walk out of an interview sometimes, and then sometimes there's a good opportunity to lead by example and be very graceful, correct the person, and keep it moving. This channel does not support the Church of Scientology, and that is all I'm gonna say. But let's take a look at how does Tom handle this. How does he handle it when somebody doesn't believe what you believe and is trying to press you or embarrass you about it? I think that's fair. Let's take a listen.
So when you hear the cynics, Mr. Cruz, and you've heard them, who say this is publicity for a movie, this relationship, or this is Tom Cruise in his 40s trying to become or stay relevant for a younger audience, and that's why he's out there talking about this relationship with this lovely young lady who happens to be sitting right over there. How do you respond to that?
You know what? There's always cynics. There's always has been. There always will be.
Do you laugh about it or just bug you?
No, you gotta just.
Can we skip? He's boring. Have patience. I need to see what this payoff is.
I have never worried, Matt, about what other people think and what other people say.
Katie, close your ears for a second, okay? You have said
sitting over there
that
all
Katie
creepy.
is the real thing. She is sensational. She's magnificent. Can you explain to me what she's brought to your life that hasn't been brought to your life in the past?
You know, I don't want to compare things.
That is such a loaded. It's just in a nice little package, because what does this question do? It compares Katie to anyone that Tom has ever dated that's in the public eye, and it sounds so nice, doesn't it? And he's about to just freely answer this shit. Oh wait, he says I don't want to compare things. Okay, let's see.
I don't want to compare things. I just say.
I don't mean that.
No, because what it is.
Okay,
it's
he picked
that
up on
thing
it.
where you just in life when it just happens, man. You know, it's just you meet someone, and it's. I can't even describe it.
Coming up, the mood changes a bit. You're going to see a fiery Tom Cruise talk about his attack on Brooke Shields, antidepressants, and Ritalin for kids. Here's a sneak peek. It's very impressive to listen to you because clearly you've done the homework and you know the subject.
And you should. And you should do that also, because just knowing people who are on Ritalin.
Okay. Here's what not to do. Here's what not to do. You remember when I said that emotion in an argument becomes a power exchange? Well, Tom has just let Matt Lauer know that he has struck a chord and he's fired up. So now all Matt has to do is, whoa. Make Tom think he's safe for 30 seconds and then stoke the flames again. It's really, when you give that emotional power to somebody, you need to know who you're giving it to and what they want from you.
I've never agreed with psychiatry, ever. Before I was a Scientologist, I never agreed with psychiatry. And then when I started studying the history of psychiatry, I started realizing more and more why I didn't agree with psychiatry. And as far as the Brooke Shields thing is, look, you gotta understand, I really care about Brooke Shields. And I wanna see her do well. And I know that psychiatry is a pseudoscience.
But Tom, if she said...
Oh my God, that is so dangerous. To think or to spread? Oh my God. Uh-oh, we lost him. Tom, come back. Get back in the ship.
All it does is mask the problem, Matt. And if you understand the history of it, it masks the problem.
Give me the oils,
That's what
Tom.
it does. That's all it does. You're not getting to the reason why. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance.
So postpartum depression to you is
Matt,
kind of a little psychological gobbledygook?
No, I did not say that.
I'm just asking what...
That is so ridiculous.
No, I did not say that.
I'm just asking what would you call it?
Matt, that is the post. Now you're talking about two different things.
But that's what she went on the antidepressant for.
But what happens, the antidepressant, all it does is mask the problem. There's ways of vitamins and through exercise and various things. I'm not saying that that isn't real. That's not what I'm saying. That's an alteration of what I'm saying. I'm saying that drugs aren't the answer. That these
You got out of bed because you have a major motion picture to film. Like, I got a stream with 6,000 people and I can't even get out of bed sometimes, bitch. What do you mean to everyone? You just need vitamins and you need to go to the gym.
drugs are very dangerous. They're mind-altering, antipsychotic drugs. And there are ways of doing it without that so that we don't end up in a brave new world. The thing that I'm saying about Brooke is that there's misinformation, okay? And she doesn't understand the history of psychiatry. She doesn't understand in the same way that you don't understand it, man.
But a little bit what you're saying, Tom, is you say you want people to do well, but you want them to do well by taking the road that you approve of, as opposed to a road that may work for them.
No. No, I'm not.
This is just a good example overall of how to not set boundaries. The way that he's doing this, it's getting way too emotional.
Do you examine the possibility that these things do work for some people? That yes, there are abuses, and yes, maybe they've gone too far in certain areas. Maybe there are too many kids on Ritalin. Maybe electric shock.
Too many kids on Ritalin. Matt.
I'm just saying. But aren't there examples where it works?
Matt, you don't even. You're glib. You don't even know what Ritalin is. If you start talking about chemical imbalance, you have to evaluate and read the research papers on how they came up with these theories, Matt.
Matt, you don't need food. I know about the history of agriculture, okay? You don't know what they're doing to you. I know, you've been doing it for years, and look at where it got you, Matt. You don't need food.
And you go and you say, where's the medical test? Where's the blood test that says how much Ritalin you're supposed to get?
It's very impressive to listen to you because clearly you've done the homework and you know the subject.
And you should. And you should do that also because just knowing people who are on Ritalin isn't enough. You should be a little bit more responsible in knowing
I'm not prescribing Ritalin, Tom, and I'm not asking anyone else to do it.
Well, you are. You're saying no.
You know what? This is a speculation. I am just throwing this out there. I think Tom, at one point, was prescribed Ritalin, and it really fucked him up, and now he's really, really adamant about it. Because I had a bad experience with Adderall I should have never been prescribed Adderall. I also stopped vape. Oh my God, I haven't vaped or had any nicotine in 16 days now. Thank you, everyone. And I'm really passionate about that because I've been through it. I think he's really passionate about this because he probably was taking a bunch of uppers when he was on set. And I think it, fucked him up. It just doesn't make sense to me why he's going so hard. It's almost like he's talking to himself.
This is a very important issue.
This is agree more.
And you know what? And you're here on the Today Show.
Right.
And to talk about it in a way of saying, well, isn't it okay, and being reasonable about it when you don't know, and I do. I think that you should be a little bit more responsible.
I think this is also a masterclass on honestly how to be an unlikable person. One, he's very condescending. There's a lot of statements of, I know this, you don't. Very, very condescending. And for me as a viewer, I feel like if I stepped into a room with Tom, he would immediately make me feel small and try to make himself big, you know? He's claiming everything to be true. He's a know-it-all. Yeah, you know what I find? This is such a strange trigger, but this bothers me a lot. It really bothers me when somebody says something matter-of-factly that I know has either wiggle room or is just not correct. I see this a lot on Twitter, the way that people write things. They say it very matter-of-factly, but then I'll read it or look into it, and it's not true. When people start to talk like that, I literally short circuit because I'm like, you have something deeply ingrained that's wrong with you, and I do not want to be a participant in this any longer. Let's check this out, just a little quickie.
You're in this, you're the boss, she's not. Who's the boss in this? I don't really care, Kristen.
Okay.
Well, baby, don't get it. Kristen, it's really okay.
That was a don't touch me hit. So he's drunk, he's slurring, He's not holding the mic to her. He's being incredibly disrespectful of her time.
Who's the boss in this?
Where his shirt's not buttoned up. This is an uncomfortable situation that she's like even been put in.
I don't really care, Christy.
Okay.
Whoa, baby, don't get it.
Oh my God. So she walks away, tries to be polite, and like it's already boiling up. It's just right under the surface. She tries to be polite, and then he touches her and tries to say baby, baby. To that clip, I say boundary set. This is Scarlet Johansson.
Now,
No, and fuck you for assisting in that. We all know what the dude was asking, and then he helps the other guy minimize it. Jeremy, come on now.